welcome from me to all of you. And I'm very happy to be today with you. And I'm also very happy that you took the time to join us tonight. So I'm Stefanie, I'm your host for today, and I will guide you through this evening. And I must say today is also a very special day because at the weekend here in Rotterdam, we have the Eurovision Song Contest. Anyone watches it? No? I will watch it. So I'm German, and the Germans usually perform very badly. So it's a very funny and cheesy thing to watch. So today we have two exciting things. We have two amazing speakers. One will talk about gender equality, and the other one will talk about learning Dutch in the Netherlands. And we will also have some very important club business to deal with, the elections of our court. But to this we will come later. And then I would give the floor to Ian, Magda, and Italia to introduce us to their role. Welcome.
Thank you, Stefanie. I think that's my cue. Good evening, all. I will be the timer for today. And I just want to share with you this amazing setup that I have, just to make sure that I keep track of time. I have today 3 colors, a pen, a blank sheet of paper, a phone as a stopwatch, and last but not least, my mouse to control this. So today I feel like a timer, but also a bit like a DJ, and it's going to be very important for the speakers to keep track of those time frames that are set. The first one, the green one, is to hit your first cue, depending on your specific speech and your time frame. The amber one, I thought it was yellow, but it's actually amber, is if you're a bit across that. And red means that you have to round the speech off. Good luck to all speakers and enjoy the day.
Magda, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you very much. Luckily, I don't need so many tools to run my role today, so I just need a piece of paper and pen. My task for today is to count all the unnecessary stops and feelings like or other words which sometimes we place when we don't know what to say. So it's good to limit them just to have a more fluent speech. So good luck, everyone, and have a nice evening.
And we will then come to Italia.
Thank you, Stefanie. Good evening, everyone. Today I will be the grammarian once again. And one of my duties is to set the word of the day, which was already set, and it's bridge. So bridge is a very simple word, but still I'm going to give you the meaning. Bridge is a noun, and it means that it's a structure spanning and providing passage over a river, chasm, road, or the like. For example, the Erasmus Bridge. It could also be a connecting, transitional, or intermediate route or phase between two adjacent elements, activities, conditions, or the like. For example, working at the hospital was a bridge between medical school and private practice. Bridge can also be used as a verb, like to make a bridge or passage over. For example, the road bridge over the river. So during the meeting, please feel free to use this word during your speeches or during your evaluations. I will be counting them, and then at the end of the day, I will say who said the word and who used it correctly. I will also be checking your grammar if you make any mistakes when you or any details when you speak, and I'll give a report to the Toastmaster, I guess, because we don't have general evaluator. And that will be it. Back to you, Stefanie.
Thank you, Italia. So then we will come to our first speaker, Amaru. Amaru, the last time we saw her, she talked about missing her flight in Schiphol, and she had to go to a wedding to Mexico. She somehow managed, and she made us all laugh. It was her first speech. Today it's her second speech, and she will talk about gender equality. And the title of her speech is Gender Equality, Are We There Yet? Amaru, the floor is yours. Good luck.
Thank you, Stefanie. Actually, that wasn't my speech. That was Italia's, but it was a really good speech, actually. Yes. So tonight we will talk about gender equality. What were you doing on the 8th of March? Do you know what important day is it? Mr. Toastmaster, dear audience, let me tell you what I was doing. The 8th of March is International Women's Day, a global day where we not only we celebrate the achievements of women in society, but we also raise awareness and recognize the areas that we still need to work towards reaching a gender equality. On that same morning, all my social media platforms were overflowed with inspiring photos, posts, and articles supporting Women's Day. Even LinkedIn was crowded with videos and texts highlighting the importance that this day also has in the corporate environment. And my curiosity sparked, and I decided to look for my own company to see what they had to say about it. But I found nothing. I waited the entire day. No emails, no posts, nothing. I'm not going to lie. I was disappointed. After carefully thinking about it, I decided to send a message to the PR person of my company, asking why we didn't share anything internally or externally. And the answer hit me like a glass of cold water. It read, from management, it's difficult to take a position in these controversial topics, so we decided not to post anything. And with this answer, I kept thinking, is this actually true? Is it a dilemma? Do we still need to keep claiming gender equality at work, at home, or in the streets in 2021? Or is not necessary anymore? So tonight, fellow Toastmasters, we're going to assess whether or not this topic is antiquated. But first of all, what is feminism? By definition, the term feminism is the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of equality of genders. It's not superiority, as some may think. Feminism is about men and women having access to the same opportunities, the right to earn the same wages, the access to the same jobs, to be treated in the same way, and to have decision over their own bodies. However, nowadays, still women don't have the same rights as men. Since a young age, women can undergo unnecessary surgical practices just for being a woman. This happens in 29 countries where female genital mutilation is still practiced. Then, in the adulthood, women have their own right to decide over their bodies revoked when it comes to abortion laws. In more than 24 countries, abortion is condemned under any circumstance, even if it's due to incest, due to abuse, or even if the mother's life is at risk. I understand that this may feel sometimes a little bit far away from our daily lives in the Western Europe. And for those who can relate, my research has also revealed insightful information about the Netherlands. According to the Glass Ceiling Index reported by The Economist in 2018, that lists 30 OECD countries that are mainly rich developed countries. The Netherlands has one of the worst environments for women at work. It scores in the bottom 10, highlighting that are still some disparities at work when it comes to gender equality. Furthermore, 45% of Dutch women have suffered physical or sexual abuse. And one woman dies every 10 days due to domestic violence, highlighting the probability of being treated cruelly just for being a woman. As we can see, there's still so much work to do in every corner of the world. To summarize, fellow Toastmasters, today we have freshened our memories about what feminism comprehends and some data about the disparities that still remains in our society. Let me briefly recitate. First, feminism is about men and women having the same rights and opportunities. Second, still, some human rights are revoked to women, for example, when it comes to decision over their bodies. And third, even the Netherlands is not as progressive as we think when it comes to domestic violence or gender bias at work. Because, dear audience, even if we feel that we are far ahead from where we were 50 years ago, there is still so much work to do. We need to recognize and raise awareness in the areas that we can do better and not settling for the current situation. We are talking about more than half of the population, and no injustice should remain. Does anyone feel this is controversial? So after this speech, I hope that next time that you think about or discuss over feminism, you approach it with an open mind, understanding the importance that this still has in our society. Thank you. Back to you, Stefanie.
Thank you so much for this very important topic. I think it's also in particular important to point out that abortion is unlawful and in many countries, and also that the Netherlands, I always have in mind gender equality in the Netherlands, but yeah, as you pointed out, there's still lots of to go. I'm sorry also to that I got your last speech wrong. It was about the moose of the dragon, so sorry, I had a little mix up. So I would give all of you then 1 minute to give some feedback to Amaru. Thank you. I just type in the chat. Thank you. Yeah, 1 minute past. So thank you for submitting your comments to Amaru. So it's up to me now to introduce our next speaker. It's me. And I will present about learning Dutch in the Netherlands. So good evening again to everyone. And the purpose of my speech is today to reflect about my communication style. And I will do so by telling you how I try in my daily life to practice my Dutch. Is there anyone in the audience who is not Dutch and is trying to learn Dutch like me? Ah, okay, wonderful. Is there anyone in the audience who has tried to learn Dutch for quite some time and for some reason hasn't succeeded yet? Okay, so yeah, I can relate to this. So why it hasn't worked out for me, I will tell you a little bit later. I will come now to 3 communication styles which are analyzed for my speech. So basically there are 3 different communication styles. This is a passive one, an assertive one, and also an aggressive one. The passive one is a razor, submissive person, razor praises others, talks a little, avoids eye contact, has clumsy hands. And yeah, this person had us quite some trouble to say what she or he wants and to get heard and to get what she or he wants. And there's kind of an inability to say no. Then you have the assertive one. The assertive one is somebody where actions and expressions fit. And this person also has a very clear message. She or he is polite, but at the same time quite firmly what she wants or he. Also, she or he has comfortable eye contact and relaxed body language, and it is rather a diplomatic approach to others. So she or he tries to bridge somehow different viewpoints, and yeah, she or he creates a nice environment for everyone. Then you also have the aggressive type. The aggressive type is harsh, sarcastic, patronizing, talks over others. Yeah, so it's all about her or him, me. And yeah, also head up, narrow eyes. And you do not really want to around this such a person. You also ask yourself, oh, does this person have friends? But yeah, happens to be that they're kind of a person acting in an aggressive way. So now I will get back to me and talking Dutch. This is quite something for me. It's very personally, and I'm in constant crisis because I'm really trying hard to learn Dutch in the Netherlands. In my work environment, unfortunately, I only speak English. And what I like to do if I live in a foreign country, usually I try to relate. So this also means I learn the local language and I want to relate to the locals. So what I've already done, I bought a bike, I eat lots of cheese, and I also eat, I'm almost vegetarian, I must say, but I also eat bitterballen, so I'm never sure what's inside there, but I eat it. So, but then in my day-to-day life, to speak Dutch, it's really difficult because the Netherlands, it's a very attractive working environment because everyone speaks English so well. Lots of European headquarters of major brands are here. There you speak English. I work in academia. Everyone speaks English. And also, I'm also a lawyer by training, international courts based in the Netherlands. Perfect. But there you also speak English. So as you can imagine, what I do, that I try to get every little chance in my day-to-day life to practice my Dutch. So what I usually do when I go to a cafe, for instance, before I actually go there, I already have my 4 words in Dutch in mind, which I want to use if I have a Dutch person in front of me. So I enter the shop, I smile, so try to be expressive, friendly eyes, try to be open. And then I try to speak with a balanced tone and volume. I use my 4 Dutch words, and then I wait. I wait for the response of my opposite. And you know what that person usually does? She or he either speaks to me in English, or even worse, she or he speaks to me in German. Apparently, when I speak Dutch, I'm German, so I have a very strong German accent. Can you imagine how humiliating this is to me? So what I usually do, I try for a second attempt. So now I'm getting a bit more submissive, avoid eye contact. I give in, I continue talking in English and say, oh, I would really appreciate if the two of us, we could continue our conversation in Dutch. It would be very lovely. And the reaction I then get, it happens really quite often. Oh, you know, and this is the reply also in English. In the Netherlands, we speak so well English. There's no need for you to learn Dutch. And then what happens in me is there's kind of a mood switch. I like to scream. I like to raise my voice, and I actually do this. And I look at that person, my eyes get narrow. Now it's just me. I want to learn Dutch. I want to practice my forwards now. And then I look at that person and scream, Helaas, pindakaas, and then I leave. And you know, what I've learned from my communication style is I always manage to use 6 Dutch words. And I also know that I will never go to that shop again. Thank you.
You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So please provide some feedback for 1 minute, and then we will continue with our agenda. Thank you.
Not sure if that's readable for you yet, but
Okay. Okay, I would then continue in our agenda. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's okay with that. And we will move on to our table topics master today, Cecile.
Okay. Well, hello, everyone. I almost started speaking in Dutch. Sorry. Well, today is the International Beekeeping Day. So I created some questions about beekeeping. Maximilian, I'd like to give you the first question. Beekeeping is already existing for 4,500 years. What is life for a beekeeper in 4,500 years ago, in your opinion? Maximilian, thank you.
May I ask just in the beginning, a what keeper?
Beekeeper.
Ah, bee with the bees, the
Yeah, bee for honey.
ah 4,000. Okay, for honey. Okay, well, interesting question actually. 4,500 years ago. So first of all, I would like to ask that this information is new for me, but well, 4,500 years ago, I think there was maybe a little bit harder to make a process as it is today with the bee. And I think actually they learned, maybe. I think it was a time where they learned a lot how to make it better, actually what a bee is, and what is the thing which makes the bee the honey, what it is. I think I don't know how they found it out. Maybe they tasted just, and well, it's maybe it was a good taste for them. But I have to say, I think it was a real learning environment, that just trial and fail, and who knows what happens. Maybe it was a little bit difficult for them, but I would describe it as a learning environment. Till 4,500 years later, we have it in every supermarket.
Thank you. Esther, I have a question for you. We hear often women complaining about the labor of bird giving, but if you know that a bee queen lays 2,500 eggs a day, what do you think about that?
Cecil,
Yes.
Esther has put in the chat that she has problems communicating. Can we pass
Okay.
to somebody else, please?
Okay. Good. Well, what about Meta? Can you answer the question? Okay, someone else? Who wants to answer this question? Or should I take another one? Okay, Romeo, you don't have to, but would you like to get a question, another one? Romeo?
Is there a Romeo Amaru?
I don't see any Romeo in the call now.
Huh?
Or I don't know if I'm missing.
Perhaps, Michiel, you would like to have a question?
Yeah, sure. I can also do the one about 2,500 kiddos per day. So that's a big task, I think. Especially, I don't know if you were already there, Cecile, during Amaru's speech, since I think you joined late, right? But we just had a really inspiring speech about feminism and yeah, how that still has a huge impact on the world. But as you say, that also highlights, I think, that there is I don't know, for humans, there's still a big difference, of course, between men and women, but probably also for animals, I guess there's the same question, although I think they don't notice it as much as humans do, since their brain capacity is a little bit different than what humans have. But what was exactly your question again? What it would be like to have to lay 2,500 eggs, or?
Often we hear that it is so hard for women to give labor to a child.
Yeah.
But if you compare that to a bee queen who lays 2,500 eggs a day.
Well, I would imagine. I don't think that the queen bee ever leaves the beehive, as far as I know, unless the new queen is going to be chosen, and then the old queen kind of flies up into the air really high. But I would imagine that that bee queen is lying in the beehive and has a full-time job, getting pushing out 2,500 eggs every single day. Although whether that's true or not, I have no clue. But yeah, that's my best guess, at least.
Okay, thank you. By the way, in the bee world, it's the opposite. Men are only useful for one thing, and that is to impregnate the queen. And if after they don't have done that, they are killed. So be happy that you're not a bee.
By the queen or by the other men?
I think by a worker bee, but
okay.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but a male bee, he is only used to impregnate the queen, and after that he's immediately killed. So, Sinaro, would you like a question? It's not there? Okay. Who would like a question?
Yeah, who likes?
Because I don't I work from a tablet, so I don't have a computer.
Gito?
I don't know who there is exactly. I work with the list.
Perhaps Gito?
I'll be happy to.
Okay. What is the connection between painting and beekeeping?
Wow, those are I feel two very different topics, and it's going to be hard to bridge them, but I'll try. I'm guessing that bees might be able to, after they pollinate a flower, to come back and put some of the pollen on some paper or canvas and create some kind of beautiful picture. I don't know if that's possible. I actually have a friend who's a beekeeper. I'll have to ask him. I never thought about bees as creating artwork, but they do create honeycombs, and that is very creative. Of course, they produce honey, which is delicious, but artwork, I'm not sure that bees really could be considered artists of any type. Although there are other animals, such as elephants, that paint, and maybe dogs, I think. So who knows? Maybe bees could be artists. And I did not see a green card, and the timer has disappeared. So I'm just going to guess that my minute is up and turn it back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
Well, it was a little bit of a trick question because Anton Jonsa, who created the beekeeping as we have it today, wanted to become a painter first. But then he got the love of beekeeping, and so it's. Is it time for another question?
Yes, one more, please.
Okay, who likes another question? Or who wants to answer a question? Would you like one else?
I can, but perhaps one of our guests?
Okay, who of the guests wants to answer a question?
Daniel? Are you up for it, Daniel?
No, let's give it a try. So,
thank you.
Well, often people think honey is nothing. It's just something cheap. It's nice, but it's no big deal. But when you know that to create 1 pound of honey, the bees have to fly 55,000 miles, what do you think about a jar of honey?
I already think that a jar of honey is something exclusive because it's typically made by such small animals. Even when you compare it to Manuka honey, which is really rare in the world and only is harvested in New Zealand. So that's the most expensive honey in the world. But I think a lot of people do not realize how amazing work these bees do, and also for our complete living on planet Earth. We are so reliable on these insects, because without these insects, there's no life on planet Earth possible. So I think the honey needs a better spot in our supermarket. We have to mark it with a golden border around it and pay a little bit more attention instead of putting it almost brainless on our piece of bread.
Great answer, great answer. I have a question that is connected to his answer. Is there time for that or not?
Yes, we are only at 2037. Go ahead. Can we find a volunteer? Somebody who wants to answer?
Yes, I would like to answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, a third of our food needs bees to be pollinated. There is a region in China where there are no bees anymore.
Yeah.
And there, the trees and things are pollinated by human beings by just taking a little bit of cotton, putting it in a female flower, of a male flower, and then to a female flower, etc. Well, in Western Europe, we are not going to do that. If bees are going to die in Western Europe, how are we going to solve the food crisis we are going to get?
Oh, wow. It's a very it is a difficult question. Yeah, I believe that we have to make sure that we can keep the bees doing their job because the honey is precious because of what they are doing. And that's why it is, I think the honey will not be the honey if the bees are not doing it, you know? So I believe we have to make it possible to create the right environment so that the bees can stay alive and they can keep doing the job. Yes. So if we have to make a bridge between that, so be creative and yeah, try to be creative so that we can keep them alive.
Thank you very much. Good answer, in my opinion. Still time or not?
Oh, I think we have to move on, Cecil. You have quite an agenda. Thank you so much. It was really interesting. I think there's also a nice project in Utrecht where they put and made some space for bees on top of bus stops. So yeah, it's also quite lovely. I think they get this. I created that 1 year ago or something. But yeah, so very nice table topic. Thank you so much. So now we are having the pleasure to hear the evaluations of 2 of our members, and this is Fred, who will evaluate the speech of Amaru, and Els, who will evaluate my speech. Okay, I will give you the floor, the 2 of you.
Thank you, Mrs. Toastmaster. Dear audience, dear Mrs. Toastmaster, dear Amaru, I loved evaluating your speech. You asked me to watch at some points to look at. You are creating an overall powerful speech, starting with a question which involves the audience from the start. You added a personal story to it with an example, how you look at it. So it made it a piece would belong to you. A speech would belong to you. Next to that, you came with the bullet points, which also probably has been researched. And I tell you, I was quite shocked about the fact what you told me about the Netherlands. So overall, you made an impression with this speech. What you made to work on, despite the fact that you had a vocal variety, you may work on it to make even more differences in volume and tone, so it becomes more, you can hear it better, that you can hear the difference between one point and the other point, and also to keep the audience awake. but in this case was not necessary. And to challenge yourself, bring in more visual content. I saw you acting with your hands, but I didn't see the emotion enough. I didn't see the anger. Why is my company not doing that? You should be angry. You should be flabbergasted. Oh, they didn't do it. Expression of your face enhances your speech. But nevertheless, at the end, I loved the speech in total. So thank you very much for your efforts.
Else, the floor is yours.
I beg your pardon? You want me to give your evaluation?
Yes, yeah, you as the
Yes.
second evaluator.
Okay,
for today.
lovely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think Stefanie gave very good examples in her speech. For instance, at the beginning, she explained already what the aim of her speech was. So we were all aware she was going to talk about her communication styles. That's her goal. Not only did she explain her goal, she also made clear to us what the 3 communication styles could be. So we were all aware what we would be focusing on. And then in the middle there, I think between explaining the goal and the explanation, she drew us all in with the question, who else is trying to study Dutch? Who else finds somehow, although you put a lot of effort, you are not managing it? So that established fairly quickly a strong connection with the audience. Well done, Stefanie. I definitely see improvement in your speeches. Where I'm not entirely sure on is what your prevalent communication style now is. Or is it that your communication style might change according to the situation? At work, at family, socializing, perhaps the Toastmasters. Each time you can have a different communication style. And some communication styles are more suited for instance, an assertive or an aggressive style than other situations. So that one I did not exactly hear in your speech. And another tip for improvement, something you might take over to your next speech, is that I have seen facial expressions. You definitely were clear on what you wanted, but it could have been slightly more. We could have seen the astonishment. Somebody again comes to English and German with you. So online is an excellent medium to try somehow to increase your facial expressions, and through those expressions to make it already good speech an excellent speech. Well done, Stefanie. Looking forward to your next speech.
Thank you very much, Fred and Thales, for your evaluation. And we are coming now to our timer.
Thank you, Stefanie. How's everybody doing? Is everybody still engaged? So, normally, when we are at Toastmasters and we start Toastmasters, I notice that people doze off if they get an introduction on the normal roles. When I started today, I showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different props. And since we have some time left, I just want to know if you can name those different props. Would somebody like to give it a try? Gitel.
Green card, amber card, red card, paper, pen, and mouse.
Excellent, nice job. Something tells me that you are not a beginner at Toastmasters. Thank you for that. So on to the time of everybody. Amaru, I would like to start with you. 7 minutes and 47 seconds. Great job. Stefanie, 6 minutes and 6 seconds. Moving on to table topics. Max, 1 minute 29. Great job. Michiel, 1 minute 28. Great job. Gitel, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, so hopefully it's okay. Would you like to correct me so I know it for the next time?
It's Gittel.
Gitel.
Rhymes with little.
Thank you. 1 minute and 10 seconds, even though I had some connection problems. Daniel, 1 minute 8. Janella, 1 minute and 1 second. Thank you all and hope to see you next time.
Thank you very much, Gian. And the next on the agenda is Magdalena, our R counter for today.
Thank you, Stefanie. Now time for some numbers from my side. Of course, it's just some indications, so you may work on it and maybe that's not really necessary. So no worries about those numbers. Stefanie, as a Toastmaster, I counted 4 stops. As a speaker, I counted 8, but some of it was like additional too many and or yeah. So not really such a big problem. Gian, 0, Italia 2, Amaru. I counted 4 stops, but there was many kind of sound, which I'm not sure, can I repeat it? Like, there's one person in Rotterdam who hates that sound, which you just place in the middle. So before I joined Toastmaster, I have no idea that there is an issue with that. So that's just for your information. Cizel, I counted 10. Maximilian, 4 on the beginning, because I think you were surprised with the question. Michiel, 4. Gettel, if that's correct, 0. Daniel, I counted 3. Janelle, I cannot pronounce. Yes, 4. Yes, thank you. Janelle, really pretty name. Fred, 1, and Els, 0. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Magdalena. And then we have Italia, our grammarian for today.
Thank you, Stefanie. Today, my listening skills were not very sharp. If I am correct, I didn't hear any major grammatical mistake. The word of the day, only I heard it from Gitel. I didn't hear it from anybody else. So thank you, Gitel, and good job. And that's it from my side. Back to you, Stefanie.
Thank you, Italia. Now we are coming to our club business. And I think I will then give the floor to Fred and Els, because this is about 7 vacant board positions. Or not? Fred, Els?
Sorry, I had to make some notes. Okay, thank you all for your involvement. I loved your interaction. But now is also a very important thing, since it's the board election. As you all know, I will put down my function as the president and Els as a VP and all the other functions. So And we are going to now, we need a new board. We need people to step up and go for the leadership which is required within Toastmasters. Luckily enough, already we have people who stepped up. First of all, I have Faisal Irzal. He will put himself available as the next president of our club. Amaru Gonzalez as the secretary. Els as our treasurer. She watches out for money. So I was a little bit reluctant whether I should take a post within the board because since I have been elected as area director of our area, so it's going to be taking a lot of time as well within that function. So, but I decided, despite that, I will apply for the function as VPE. But also, I would like to address every member because it's not the board who makes it; it's the whole club. All members make our club runs. So proactive, fulfilling roles, taking up roles, making more speeches, so that we can continue and we can keep growing. And the more members, of course, the more we get. So that's, I will point me in that as a VPE, considering that if I can maintain it, and it's only depending on the involvement of the rest of the club. Otherwise, I have to put it down because I also need to do my area director function. The next functions will still be available. It's the function of the VPM, the VPPR, and the Sergeant at Arms. And of course, I will stay also in the club as immediate past president. And normally, the immediate past president starts up with the beginning of the election. But in this case, I will do it because I'm also the immediate past president of the start of season. So ending with this, I would like to hear who would take up the role as we start with the VPM, because we already have some applicants for the other roles. If you want to other roles, of course, you have to make it a vote, of course. But first of all, we need to fulfill all the other roles before we go to do that. Because we want to have a complete board. So the vice president of membership. Can I ask who would like to do that? It's put on every function is very important within our club. It's a different function, and together we make our club. Can I see your hand? Not yet. No. Okay, we note we have to still, we don't have to decide it final yet. We hope to do it today, otherwise we will bring it up to the next meeting. Then we also have the function of the vice president public relation, who is responsible for the promotion of our club on social media, on other ways, so LinkedIn, Facebook, all other on Meetup.
Perhaps it's a good idea to give an indication of how much time you might have to spend on that, Fred.
Yes, okay. I know for the VPPR, because I did this before and I didn't know as well. It depends on how interactive you can be. For me, it took next to the board meetings, which we had monthly, 1 hour before the meeting. It took me, I think, max 3 hours a month, max 3 or 4 hours. And everything depends because I combined everything to promote everything and to make a promotions. So that's the fact. The VPM, that's also depending on yeah, how much you are the first contact person for the members and also the upcoming members. When new members register, you are the first contact point who gives them the information, and also gives every information to the head office through our secretary. I don't know how that was normally done. Else, can you enhance me that?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Normally, who does the transfer from the information to the Toastmasters International from the new members? Is that the secretary or is it the VPM or?
No, it's indeed officially the role for the secretary. Of course, in the absence, the VPE and the president have the same abilities within Toastmasters International.
Okay, thank you very much. And the sergeant at arms, that's the person who normally in physical surroundings takes care that everything is set up, that the room is ready for the guests, that the guests are received in good order. On the online situation, it's normally at the sergeant at arms does the same, but also can be Zoom master. Depends. It's still a variable. Okay, Esther, of course, great. Yes, of course, we will guide you. So that's with all the roles, by the way. We are still there to advise and in every role which is to be applicated. So, and yeah, that's the roles. That's also why I took the role to VPE. That's the most interactive role. And it's not the president, it's the VPE. And he or she is doing the most of the work. So else, I also want to thank you for that as a VPE, to making it work, that our evenings were filled, calling members, mailing members. Okay, do you want to have a speech? Can you fulfill a role? And that's where we need to come in as a club. We need to be more active because it lightens the task of a VPE, and I think we may be grateful of that. And as Vice President in Education, that she did that so far. So, and if you not decide today, please think about it, because it's not you're only as a board, as an executive team. It's that you make decisions, but the club is run together with all the members. It's not only the executive team. We are the Toastmasters as a club.
Yeah. I just got a comment from somebody attending, and if I translate it, it is also that taking up a role in the board can actually be seen as a good volunteer experience and daily work experience towards a job. Obviously, it depends on what kind of a position you are aspiring to in the future, and not every position within the board will have the same value, but it can actually support you when you apply for jobs that you have participated in a board, you know how a board works, that you have to seek compromises, but also you have committed yourself for a certain period in executing a job to the best of your abilities.
Thank you, Els. Yes, and also, if you want to grow within Toastmasters, and you want to, for instance, become DTM, like Els, Distinguished Toastmaster, which is the highest achievement which you can make in Toastmasters, it's required to have been in abroad. We have been the president, area director, and so forth and so far. So there are a little bit of the requirements when you want to become a distinguished Toastmaster. But personally, I can tell myself, no, yes, okay, okay. But personally, I can tell it's for me this period. It's a lot of challenges, and you learn a lot. And also, I love to be the president of this club and see it growing, and also to encourage the members to grow within our club, and also to make our club grow. So, if you don't want to decide yet, please remember that the role of VPM and VPPR are still vacant. So, but I also want to make some clear actions, because there are also some things changing for the coming year. As per July 1st, there's a new law coming up in the Netherlands for involvement into clubs. So now I'm going to start with the votes. An absence of Faisal, but I think that we just can do it right now. Can I, if you have, if I want to see a hand who who agrees with Faisal being our new president of the period 21-22. So please raise your hands on the chat, so I can see how many people vote. I see else thumbs ups. Can I see the more raised hands? Maximilian, Amaru, Italia. I still have. Okay, so yes. Okay, great. Okay, then I think that for what everyone who's here, we have okay, great. For Faisal as our new president, we of course will discuss in the next meeting as well, and for everyone else to vote as well. The next function is for our new secretary, Amaru. So may I see your hands up? Yes, yes, yes. Oh, they'll go very fast. Yes, great, of course. I don't have to put up my hand because I already great for welcome as new secretary. Then as our Miss Moneypenny, Miss Els Lucas, hands up for me. Because may I see your hands up for Miss Moneypenny? Okay. That was my name was Bon. Then our sergeant at arms for Esther. May I see some hands? Yes. Great, great. Okay. Then okay. Then for me, as since we have no VP, we have VPR yet, as VPE. Thank you for your trust. Okay, great. Then we have almost the most roles fulfilled. So great. That's a good evening then. So we and the other ones, please think whether to fulfill a role as VPM, PPM, or VPPR. So that's for that. I want to conclude this election, and we will also send an email to everyone. Next to that, I want to ask our guests. For instance, first I want to ask the Gital, since she's also a mentor at the Odyssey project, right?
Yes, yes.
Great.
Yes, I really enjoyed this meeting. It was very nice, very well done, very professional. The speeches, of course, were terrific. And the table topics very entertaining. And it was very, very well, very entertaining, very good meeting.
Okay, thank you. Then Gianella, I hope I speak it right.
Yes, my name is Janella.
Okay.
Janella Wall. Okay, I like the meeting. The speeches were very good. First of all, the first speech, it touched me very much because I'm a very passionate person that likes to, to put emphasis on the rights of the women, and also talk about that rights of the women and also of children. So I like the speech very much. Actually, I liked everything. It was good. Also about the bees. Yeah.
Okay, great. So we may so we may see you next time. And
yes, I'm living in Dordrecht right now.
Okay.
And I was looking for a Toastmaster to join in a closer one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw that there are a couple of Toastmasters in Rotterdam.
Mm-hmm.
So I just asked for information so I can look where I can join. Huh?
Yes, normally our residence is near metro station Maashaven, so we are easy to reach by public transport. So I think when you go by train or by bus to Zuidplein from Dordrecht, and that's but we can look at that. But at the moment we are still online, but we hope to go hybrid. But we still are sorting out how we can become a hybrid club. When we is going to be real physical again.
Okay.
So Daniel Hoffman, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still there.
Okay, great. I would like to have your comments. How did you like this evening?
No, I find it a very interesting evening. This was interesting how well scheduled everything is and time connected. So it was very interesting to listen, and also really interactive with each other, with the questions, with the table topics. So I enjoyed this evening.
Okay, great to hear. Great to hear. Thank you. And of course, our he is not a member, but our guest table topics Toastmaster. Are you still there, Cecil?
Yes, I am.
Okay, as I already wrote in the check, I found the topic beautiful.
Yeah, I saw. I'm glad that I always try my best to prepare something interesting, and I'm glad that it is appreciated.
Yes, thank you. And also we've got Beatrice. I also would like to have your opinion because this is our second time that you're a guest here, correct? So
no, I have been often guest. I have been guest when it was still live. In the past, I even made the videos of the speeches for you.
Okay, great.
So I'm how do you say that? In Dutch we say, ik ben onderdeel van het meubilair.
Yes.
Don't know how to say it in English.
Yeah, he's a part of the furniture, so that's he's a gift with the club, so that's but a welcome gift, Cecil. So that's thank you. So as Beatrice, you're up to speak. I would like to have your voice.
Okay, I really like the meeting. I guess it's friendly and I like the speeches also. I'm not sure, and I have a question about the B topic, because for me, it would be a very hard topic to develop it. And I would like to know how does it work, if it's something that we didn't know, and then table topic is like, okay, go on. And if you don't know anything about the topic, you should what? It's a question.
But the question is, when you have a table topic, that's the fun about table topics.
Yes, yes. How does it work? I didn't understand very well because it was.
Okay, I like Cecil because he's the table topics. The table topics. I like Cecil answer it. I can answer it well, but Cecil?
It's my fault. I should have explained beforehand that if you don't know something about what the question, you are allowed to talk about something completely different. So the table topics is because often you have to say something unprepared, and table topics helps you to get that skill that you can say something unprepared. But especially my questions can be a little bit difficult. So if you really don't know from what should I answer, then you can say, for example, when you were walking outside today, you saw a beautiful rainbow, and you can talk about the rainbow. It would be preferred to answer the topic, but if you really don't know, you can talk about anything you want. And is that your question, or?
Yes, it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. And it was a good evening. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mara.
And what I may also add, Beatrice, what also happens is that you can tell a nonsense story. So make up everything. So that it's totally off the rack. There's nothing is true about it. So you tell that about the bee with jet engines, and make nonsense and make people laugh. Because the most important thing is that you practice your speech. The most important thing about the table topics that they have a structure, same like the speeches, and the table topics are there to become confident, to be outspoken in the end, and how to structure a speech when you are suddenly surprised for making a toast, for instance, a wedding, of course. And the table topics is also the most fit item of an evening at the Toastmasters, for the most. There are people like me who love the table topics because you can make a lot of nonsense and a lot of fun of it. But it's also the approach in the evening. It's just right here. It's this: you are supposed to make mistakes, because from mistakes you learn. And then when it's going to in real time, then you you're going to be perfect, but because of you can't make mistakes here, in a friendly and a safe, and of course a humorous environment. So are there some questions yet before I go to close this meeting? Okay, then I want to thank you. If you were a guest and you enjoyed and you were thinking about joining Toastmasters, please send us an email. You know our address, you know how to find us now. And we love to hear your speeches. We love to hear your story, your icebreaker. And of course, we love to see you grow. Ending with this, I thank every participant, and I especially welcome our new board. I also thank the guests and the speakers and the guest speakers and all the participants in this evening. Thank you all, and see you next time.